Every country has its ghosts, not the kind that haunt buildings, but the kind that haunt timelines, that vanish when you ask for proof and multiply when you click follow, like and share. One day, he was begging for 20 shillings. The next, he claimed he made 40 million a day. No receipts, no verified trades, no refunds, just endless models of Mercedes-Benz, perfectly edited screenshots and your belief. A story that fed off your sympathy, played with your desperation, and turned one former homeless kid into a national illusion. This is the journey into the dark truth of Kenyan Prince, a journey that forces me to ask you one question. Is Kenyan Prince a genius forex trader or a scammer?
Dollar counts to $20, but from 12,000 men, we are at 89,000 equity. This is not a joke.
Imagine begging for 20 shillings outside Parliament Road, sleeping on pavements, no food, no future, and just 4 years later, claiming you made 40 million shillings a single day. This is not just a rags to riches story. This is a rabbit hole, because the man behind the fairy tale goes by the name Kenyan Prince. Real name Raymond Omosa. Year 2020. Location Nairobi. In 2020, he came to Nairobi as a street kid.
I came to Nairobi as a street kid who used to be in the streets begging, kindly help me with 20 shillings. That is what I used to do in 2020. Like the whole of 2020, that is what I did for a living.
He was born and raised in Kisii. His mother passed away, his father absent, his grandmother struggling to survive. Kenyan Prince admits he was a very brilliant student in school and used to carry his KCSE results and say he needed help to pay his fees.
Some good guy around Parliament, around the Intercontinental Hotel. Yeah. Actually, that guy gave me 40,000 in shillings.
Just like that, he didn't even know who the guy was. He took the 40k, moved to a cramped studio apartment near University of Nairobi, bought a Samsung A32 and slept on the floor. And with the phone came his first hustle.
So I went online and looked for someone who can sell me sure betting odds. And I paid him 3,500 shillings. That person called me to tell me add more money. I was so smart, so I realized this is a scam. This person ameniosha.
So he flipped the coin, created his own Telegram group, started his own fake betting service, promised sure odds, sold hope, and told lies. He even called clients personally to earn their trust, a tactic most scammers will not dare. For 6 months, Raymond Omosa was a full-time scammer, and the money he used to buy food, rent, and survival, until one day...
Now what happened coincidentally, they reported my Telegram groups. They reported...
Telegram banned his group. His SIM card was stolen. His phone was snatched in town. Everything else collapsed, but Raymond, he did not. He just evolved. The same year, he moved in with a woman. No rent, no job, just charm. He lived with her for 6 months. The woman acted as his accommodation, and the woman was very important to him. But even in silence, he was plotting. In February 2022, he reappeared as something else. TikTok became their lifeline, posting over 100 TikToks a day. The goal was virality, and that's how he survived. Fans donated.
That lady sent me 60,000, just telling me, get things for your house and at least do better videos.
They weren't just influencers, they were emotional entrepreneurs. But soon, Raymond got bored of crying for tips. He wanted more than sympathy. He wanted status. This is where the second mask goes on. This is where Raymond Omosa stops pretending to be poor and starts pretending to be powerful. Because now, he wasn't just a hustler on TikTok. He was Kenyan Prince. Or at least, that's what he says.
Kupata watu wa majuu wanataka kuinvest in trading na wagonga wenye naona ni wa reasonable, tuna invest, unaona tunaunda do, naambia wengine sijui nataka fees, wanatuma do.
It wasn't pitched as a scam, just a shortcut, a lifeline. For just 20,000 Kenya shillings, you could learn the secret of forex, the charts, the strategy, the money. That's what Raymond Omosa promised he could deliver. If someone wants to get into forex, how much do they need to pay you? 20,000. But here's the contradiction. Raymond has always insisted he's not a mentor, he's just a trader. So what happened? According to Raymond, it wasn't his idea, it was a demand. So he gave in. He didn't advertise a class, he just replied to those who asked, privately, invisibly, and with no receipts. He admitted the truth and brushed it off. But for the people who paid, that wasn't heartbreak, that was fraud.
Bro, nikudiam nikwambie mimi naweza kusaidia nini, unataka ngapi, utakata? I'm not a pastor, I'm not Jesus. That was money you gave me willingly. And I did it.
Most of his followers were not rich. They were students, hustlers, jobless dreamers. They didn't have 20,000 to waste. The saddest part, most of them weren't chasing millions. They were chasing rent, chasing food. They weren't gullible. They were just desperate. And in a country where jobs are scarce and influencers promise shortcuts, can you really blame them? And Raymond, he never hosted a full class.
There is a class I left hanging. That is, to be honest, mimi siwezi danganya kitu nimefanya Obina. There are people who paid for classes. I did them 2-3 classes. I got an heartbreak. A lot of things came on my way. I didn't finish the course.
This is not just laziness. It's negligence with real financial consequences. So he changed the model. No schedules, no Zoom links, just pay 20,000 Kenya shillings. If you're serious, you're in. No refund policy, no terms and conditions, no protection, just hype and hope. But in Forex, transparency is trust, and trust is everything. When asked why he didn't prove his trades, he said,
"Look for me on a personal level. I can prove that I'm legit or not."
But thousands of young Kenyans had already paid and never saw anything. He didn't force you, you gave him the money, you did it willingly. If you didn't ask for terms, if you didn't demand receipts, if you just trusted the persona, then the scam was your fault. But here's the part he leaves out.
I've been into the hands of DCI severally. They even took some of my phones for screening. 2 of my phones are right now detained at the police station and they're doing screening.
I searched every public databases. I looked for police bulletins, arrest logs, DCI press releases. And what did I find? Nothing. Not a single official confirmation. So the question becomes, why would Raymond lie? Or more disturbingly, why would he brag about it? In a world chasing clout, even police investigations become street cred. Let this sink in. When you build a business with no contract, when you trade with no license, when you accept money with no delivery, eventually the 20,000 gamble becomes yours. A tall handsome man in his early 20s, a 4.5 million shillings house, stacks of cash on TikTok, and a claim that is worth over 250 million Kenya shillings. Welcome to the financial fantasy of Raymond Omosa, also known as Kenyan Prince. Just a year earlier, he'd said his net worth was over 30 million Kenya shillings. Now, he claims 10 times more. But here's the problem. No verified statements, no tax filings, no audit trails, no proof. Just screenshots.
Time in Mombasa, I was carrying 24 million cash. I only decided to flaunt 6 million because of my personal reasons. That particular day, I even bought my friend a car. I'm not lying.
But here's what he refuses to show. Logbooks, vehicle ownership documents, bank withdrawal slips, broker trading history. But when accepting 20,000 Kenya shillings for classes, trading on behalf of strangers, flashing 8 figures on camera, documentation is not a luxury, it's the bare minimum. But every claim relies on one big thing, belief. So, let's do the math. The first claim is he made 40 million Kenya shillings in one day, 2023. Owns 4 cars, 2024. Worth $2 million or 260 million Kenya shillings in 2025. Built a 4.5 million house, 2023. Lost 12 million in trades, 2024 to 2025. He says it with the calm of a man who knows the cameras are watching and doesn't care if the numbers add up, because to Raymond, perception is better than proof. This is the new economy, where clout replaces credentials, where screenshots replace statements, and where hope blinds people to truth. But here's the danger. Raymond now manages other people's accounts. No license, no protection, no insurance, just blind faith. And if it goes wrong,
And by bad luck, the market took the money. Not Kenyan Prince ate your money.
this is not trading. This is gambling with someone else's chips while pocketing the credit when you win and walk away when you lose. Every great illusion needs a love story, not just to entertain, but to protect the brand, to turn manipulation into romance, control into care, clout into compassion.
Nembe, come tell me bye.
Mbona mwita Kinembe?
Si ni Kinembe yangu.
And for nearly 2 years, Stephanie Gunjiri was the story. He called her his wife. He said her profession was look beautiful and stay at home. He paid her bills, controlled her money, and denied her full independence.
And women should not work.
But in 2025, she finally did. This breakup wasn't private, it was public, messy, and inevitable. Because from the beginning, the relationship was never built on love, it was built on power.
If she's in Turkey, she should have moved on. Ama, why should you be somewhere where you're not happy? I'm not forcing her to be here.
She was already preparing for a future without him. Because even as they smiled for the cameras, behind the scenes, he told interviewers she was replaceable. And fans started noticing the cracks. And Raymond's response, if she's not happy, that's her business. I'm not forcing her. By mid-2025, whispers turned to confirmation. The couple was done. So, what was it really? A relationship or a contract? Because, let's not forget, Raymond's pattern didn't start with Stephanie. He said it before and he'll say it again. Love was never love, it was leverage. He moved on, she moved out. And the internet moved on too. But the damage lingered because for fans who donated money, who believed in the fairy tale, who said this is real love, it wasn't just a breakup, it was a betrayal. Stephanie never had control, not of the finances, not of the story, not even of her voice. But when she left, she claimed all three.
Mimi on my side,
You know why you are there.
I know why I'm there.
Yes.
Si wewe ndo unajua mali.
It's
Like
true.
Mimi, why I'm there. It is me and
That's not love, that's insurance. Because behind the GLE convertibles, behind the sponsored wigs, behind the M-Pesa transfers and livestream prayers wasn't a couple, it was a contract. And when that contract expired, so did the illusion. First, it was Forex, then came the cars, then the content, then the wife. But now, Raymond Omosa has a new goal. Not money, not clout, power.
I'm running for the Member of Parliament, Kasarani 2027. So these guys need to vote me in.
It doesn't say maybe, it doesn't say one day, he says it like it's already written. And here is what makes that scary. In Kenya, politics is not a backup plan, it's the final stage of the hustle, where conmen become community leaders, where rebrands become manifestos, where the line between scam and real vanishes. Kenyan Prince is already laying the groundwork. He speaks like a savior, but sells like a salesman. Let's look at the blueprint. So we're going to talk about the stage, the move, and the example. The step 1 in stage is sell hope online, forex, relationship struggles, and donations. The second step is build loyalty via truth. Raw podcast confessions, crying, blaming society. And then the third step is turn suffering into a brand. I rose from the mud, vote for me, I get it. The fourth step is deny accountability. Kenya Revenue Authority can't touch me. DCI, arrest me if I'm wrong. And the final step is to reinvent as a leader. I'm doing more than your MP. Raymond is not just planning for next month, he's positioning for next term. And he's not wrong, it's the game. And Raymond is just playing it better. This is not a forex trader anymore. This is a messianic narcissist.
I don't have a physical office. The people open physical offices to use them as scamming hotspots.
But what is he building? There are no foundations, no NGO, no registered business, no tax records, no community initiatives, only words. And that's the most dangerous part, because the more a performer learns how to rally crowds, how to weaponize poverty, and how to sell dreams to the disparate, he becomes more than a scammer. He becomes a movement. If he wanted to be a pastor, he could. If he wanted to be a member of parliament, he's already preparing. And if no one stops him, he won't need to scam anymore. He'll just be in charge. When the line between conman and candidate disappears, what hopes do we have? When we reward manipulation with office, when charisma outweighs accountability, when boldness is mistaken for brilliance, what kind of leaders are we creating? Maybe Raymond will never run. Maybe it's just talk. But if he does, and if he wins, he won't be the first and definitely won't be the last. This is not just the story of one man, it's the story of a country, a generation, a dream turned hustle. Raymond Omosa didn't invent the scam, he just mastered it. Because in today's Kenya, Truth doesn't go viral. Fugazi does. In 2020, he begged for 20 bob.
Can you help me with 20 shillings? But now I used to carry a copy of my results.
In 2022, he claimed he flipped $600 into $220,000. In 2023, he bought 4 cars.
2 Audis and a Mercedes.
In 2024, he announced his bid for parliament. And in 2025, we still don't know if any of this is real. Raymond's story is bigger than Forex. It's the Kenyan dream repackaged for the social media generation. Hustle from nothing, say it's God, cry for help, show off a car, offer a cause, collect the bag, then disappear. These are the words of a new influencer class. Not scammers in suits, scammers with prayer captions, scammers with 2 million views. Let's remember what is never shown. No live trading account, no verified student success, no license, no audit trail, no refund structure, no bank statement, no brokerage partnership. Just a social media account, a girlfriend or two, a rented Benz, a ring light, and an audience that wanted to believe. That's not just a red flag, that's a confession. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's telling you with a smile.
Got smarter than them. Go to wherever I wanted. Learned how to survive in the streets then.
This is not about whether Raymond is guilty. This is about the system that made him possible. Because we live in a society where pain is monetized, sympathy is weaponized, poverty is marketed, hope is exploited, and trading is no longer about charts, it's about clout. Kenyan Prince is not the anomaly, it's the blueprint. A symbol of what happens when fame outpaces skill, attention becomes currency, and followers become customers. In a country with 35% youth unemployment, the real problem is not just Raymond. It's the silence, the lack of regulation, the glorification of shortcuts, the celebrities promoting Forex, the TikTokers selling lies, the politicians watching and doing nothing. Raymond has told his version. Now it's time to tell ours. Let's weigh every fact, every contradiction, and ask only the questions that matter. Is Kenyan Prince a scammer? In the end, every con needs a final act, a reveal, a reckoning. So let's pause this noise and cut through the TikToks and ask the questions that have been lingering since chapter 1. Is Kenyan Prince a genius or a fraud? Let's review the evidence. Let's begin with his rise from the streets. His claim he was homeless, begging in Nairobi in 2020, supported by detailed self-reporting, matching public timelines. Verdict, likely true, consistent with timelines, tone, and verified locations. The claim on his wealth:
you're more than 30 million.
Yes.
You're 21.
Yes.
he made $220,000 in a single trade. The third, he built a 4-bedroom mansion worth over 4.5 million Kenya shillings. And the final claim, he bought 5 cars, including an Audi and a Mercedes C200 AMG. Evidence: 0 receipts, no license plates, no land deeds, no audit trail, no bank proof, no brokerage withdrawal history. Verdict: unverified, likely exaggerated or false. And let's look at the Forex classes. He sold classes for 20,000 per student.
So ka 20,000 ukinipea si mbaya, but si ati niko desperate for it. Munipea msinipea, I'm still running the streets.
Failed to compensate sessions for many. Never hosted full cohorts. Lacks professional registration or teaching license. Ethically questionable. Possibly exploitative. And let's get into the police and DCI claim. No official police or court records. No DCI statements released. Verdict: unverified but possible. Self-incriminating if true. And for the TikTok couple content, monetized sympathy and struggle. Confessed to staying in relationship for accommodation. Used emotional manipulation for gift and donation. And his political ambition: declared bid to run for MP Kasarani 2027. No party, no platform, no track record. Verdict: clout-driven stunt. Possibly ego trip, possibly real threat. And here's the final test you're going to put Kenyan Prince through. We are going to have the scam red flags, and if Kenyan Prince match, we'll say yes. Sells dream with no proof. Yes. Uses emotion to collect money. Yes. Deflects criticism as hate. Yes. Claims police attention as proof of innocence. Yes. Lives flashy but shows no verified assets. Yes. Blames clients for sending money willingly. Yes. Lacks credentials. Yes. Uses religious or motivational rhetoric. Yes, and the final verdict, the profile fits almost too perfectly. So, is Kenyan Prince a scammer? Here's the deal. I want you to be the jury. Drop your verdict in the comment section. Attach your reasons too. Raymond may have lied. He may have manipulated. But the real scam, many of us saw him and still whispered, I want to be like him. This documentary is not about destroying Kenyan Prince. It's about understanding how many Kenyan princes are we creating every single day.